We're going to start off here with our power rankings. Week 6, you know the deal by now. Let's get into it. At number 10, we have the Commanders. Of course, I do. A team that is rolling, and it looks like they could do no wrong. Jaden Daniels is playing at a historic level right now, statistically. And this team, again, has won 4 straight games. They deserve a spot in the top 10. The defensive secondary, they got to get a little bit better. But as of right now, they're still a top 10 unit. At number 9, might be a shock. I have the Green Bay Packers. I trust Jordan Love. I trust LaFleur. And it might be a shock. I know they have some injuries with Christian Watson, some questions around Romeo Dubs, but as of right now, I trust the quarterback, the coach, the two most important positions, and they're a top 10 team going forward. At 7 and 8, these teams played in a classic last Thursday night. Falcons, they jump all the way to number 7. Amir, I finally gave in. I finally gave them a top 10
Yep.
spot. Tampa, I think the resume is still impressive to this point in the season, so they're still at number 8. Again, they lost to a top 10 team. You can't really, I guess, push them down the list too much. At number 6, a team that has lost 2 straight games, but to me, to 2 top 5 teams in the league. So Buffalo, yes, they haven't looked pretty. They've had some injuries. The offense has not looked great, right? But at the end of the day, they've lost to 2 very, I guess, playoff contenders. So I'm going to knock them down the list, just not too entirely far down. Baltimore, they've won 3 straight after an 0-2 start, and nobody on this earth can stop Derrick Henry at the moment. They have a big game against Washington this weekend. It's a big game for both teams, and I'm excited to see that one. Should be a high-scoring affair, but Baltimore, they're back on track. And number 4, Minnesota. Look, we talked about it last week. They are the shock of the season. They have won 5 straight games. They're now heading into a much-needed bye where they can get some much-needed rest. And who knows, Amir, you might have Aaron Jones come back healthy after the bye week. TJ Hawkinson, it might come back here sooner rather than later. This team quietly is only going to get better going forward throughout the season. Who knows? Maybe they can sneakily win this division. My top 3 remains the same. The Chiefs took care of business. The Lions were on bye, but they have a big matchup against the Cowboys this week. Houston, big win. I just don't think they're better than the top 2 teams at this point in time. Could I be wrong? Possibly. That is my top 10. Amir, kick it off here.
So at my number 10 spot, Washington. And I'm gonna be honest, this past week, watching them completely dismantle our defense, I had to put them at 10, just based off that offense alone. Defensively they look super shaky and questionable, but Jaden Daniels is playing great on a top 10 level. And so, in my 9 spot, I have Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, for me, I wasn't gonna drop them down, lower because they lost to Atlanta. I know, it was a shootout and it was, really, really close. So I'm not gonna hold that against them. Um, After that, Buffalo's at 8. Buffalo, with the injuries and stuff like that. And I kind of figured eventually, them not having enough depth and not having too much, was going to catch up to them. I'm not sure that it's really going to catch up to them just now because they lost to 2 really good teams. I think they'll still make a playoff push, but I think in the long run, that's going to catch up to them. In the 7th spot, we got San Fran. They're 2-3. You might, get upset they're still in my top 10, but in my opinion, I mean, they're honestly the greatest 2-3 team in NFL history. So, and so, I think,
Can't blame you.
yeah, and so after that, Atlanta's at 6 for me. I'm high on Atlanta. This defense is amazing. Kirk Chainz is balling out now. The offense is finally going. And so, I think that from now on, it's only up from Atlanta. Atlanta, honestly, I mean, for the rest of the year has a pretty,
Probably the
not
easiest
cakewalk
schedule.
schedule, but I mean, the schedules are honestly in their favor. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they honestly end up with, the 2 seed. After that, I have the Baltimore Ravens. They won 3 straight. Derrick Henry's great. The defense is questionable, but they're still good. Lamar's looking great. And so, without a doubt, they're a top 5 team. At the 4th spot, I have Houston. And Houston is great. I think Houston is still scratching the surface, still kind of reaching that potential. But, the 3 teams that's above them, in my opinion, have been playing, lights out better than them. And I think for Houston, too, Stroud's obviously been playing good. But he still hasn't been playing on that MVP level. We sort of
Right.
have been expecting. Detroit at 3. Detroit's great. The defense looks better than last year. It's still questionable on the back end. Still way too many penalties. Specifically in their young DBs. But the offense is arguably the best in the league. The offense has been amazing on all 3 levels. Jared Goff's finally hitting his stride, looking great. But the teams that's over them have been better. 2 spot Minnesota. I didn't want to put Minnesota at 2, but I have to. They're undefeated. They're great on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
They've been dominant. Shout out, Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell. And one Kansas City. Kansas City is looking unstoppable, man. And it's like last night, seeing them, or Monday, seeing them against New Orleans, man, was amazing on both sides of the ball.